There we go. You there, Carl?
Yeah, sorry, I was just, like,
Oh,
trying to, like I don't have the ability to, like, fade things in and out, so what I try and do is, like, lower the music just a little bit, then I'll, like, switch to my, recording podcast screen, and then I'll turn the music off because we don't have, like, that professional tech of just, like, the button where it fades in professionally.
no, we don't have stream decks or any of that business, which,
I don't.
maybe we should, but oh well.
No, man, professional. I kinda like the gimmick. I've kinda committed to that gimmick now, so I kinda
You
have to
have a
stick
little
to
bit,
it.
yeah.
I do, yes, but, yeah, welcome to episode
87?
line 87.
Yeah.
87, fucking hell.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. We're getting like when we get to episode 100, can we just stop? Can we just like stop, or can we just go like episode 100 and then like just go back all the way back around to one?
I've seen podcasts do that in the past because
It
obviously,
is a
like,
bit,
people see a big number and go like, "Oh, but I don't want to commit to, like, I'm behind on the narrative." It's like we're just talking about shit from
yeah. It's like when you see like a gameplay series. It's like, oh, episode 163. You're like, well, I don't think I've got the time commitment to commit to 163 episodes. So you just like you mix it up a little bit. It's like basically it's the online content equivalent of the old joke about guy calls up a pizza place and get a 16-inch mega pizza with everything on it, and the guy goes, "Okay, do you want that cut into 10 slices or 12?" And he goes, "I'll go for 10. I can't eat 12."
Yeah.
It's the same amount of content, but it looks like there's less, so it works out for people a bit better, doesn't it? But
It does, yeah.
Lucas, how have you been, Monfretta?
A little bit tired, but other than that, good. I have, like, it's hard to see that what it is, but it's an iced coffee.
Same here. A nice coffee or an
An
iced coffee?
iced
They're very different.
coffee.
I've just
An
got a nice coffee as well.
iced coffee, yeah. So I'm like I said to Jenna just before we started, we've got a coffee machine and we've got like a slush puppy maker. And I
Mhm.
was like, I need to learn how to make frappuccinos between those two things. I was like, I can make the crushed ice, and I've got the coffee machine. I need to learn how to make frappes.
Thing is, all I heard then is that you've got a slush puppy machine, which means when we're able to meet up in person, I'm putting a bottle of vodka in that thing.
Carl, that's been my summer, man.
Oh, what?
Just
Oh,
like
yeah, 'cause you can just like the ice slush. That's incredible.
oh yeah, just like the rum slushies. Like we even had some gin that like Jenna got gifted. We don't really drink gin, but we've just been putting it in slushes because you just taste slush. It's great.
It's like there's a friend of mine. He lives near a shop.
Hmm.
Like, I guess as most people's friends live near shops, but he
Yeah,
lives near a shop that
yes.
has a slush machine.
Yeah.
And what we'll do is, on just randomly one weekend that we were there, like last year, we
Hmm.
could able to meet up with people. Actually, no, it was like before that. It would been like 2 years ago now at this point. But yeah, like we go there, we get beer for the night out, and
Yes.
one of our mates just grabbed a slush instead and just poured his beer on top of it, or his cider or something like that, and we're like, that's incredible. So we all get like two slushes, and then we like just pour beer onto the slushes or like vodka. It's like, oh, it's the dream.
It really is, and I was there like I pulled out the slush puppy machine like maybe a month ago and was like I
Mhm.
feel kind of bad because Jenna got me this for Christmas like a year and
You've
a
never
half
used
ago,
it.
and I
One of
had
those
used
things.
it, but I hadn't used it as much as I thought I'd done. And like it's just since I've pulled it out, it's been just a daily slush puppy thing, and I ordered a bunch of different like flavors off Amazon and stuff. So I've got like kiwi and apple and raspberry
Yeah.
and cola and stuff like that, and I'm just like living my absolute slush puppy life, Carl.
Yeah, it's like the reason this coffee, I've got one of those like Nespresso coffee machines, and I didn't think I'd use it that much until I realized, oh, you can like just order a job lot of the pods on Amazon. You get like 100 of them for like 15 quid. So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
15p a coffee. And you always have that thing, don't you? Like oh, millennials save money. Don't spend 3 quid on a cup of coffee every morning. Like 15p on a cup of coffee, and
Mhm.
it's a nice cup of coffee. And then I've got one of those blenders, those NutriBullets, and I put
Oh,
milk
yeah.
in that. So I blend the milk to froth it up, and I make myself like just a pseudo
I
latte.
like how that's how you make the latte. Just
Yeah,
blend your milk in the NutriBullet.
that's the one. Yeah, and then I put it in the microwave for 10 minutes. Not 10 minutes,
And,
like 10 seconds.
it's one of those things of, like, we're not sponsored by any of those products, but if
They're
Slush
good.
Puppy wanna start giving me infinite slushes, I'm not gonna argue with them.
Yeah, well,
Like,
there's a
hit
big
me up.
difference. There's a difference between a sponsorship and an endorsement, and a sponsorship is something that the company pays for, and it does not suggest or indicate any sort of positive feedback from you. It's like they are paying for you to read out like their ad copy. An
Yes.
endorsement is you saying that you use the product.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
that can be paid for, or can it, just become naturally as it does? Because I will highly recommend like the Nespresso coffee pod machine that I've got. Me and my girlfriend use it every single day. Use it every single day, and I'm guessing like you'll like give a hearty endorsement to the slush puppy machine.
Yeah, and it's just one of those. It's not an actual proper one that you'd find in a shop or anything because they are way more
Yeah,
expensive. It's just one of those that you can go online. And it's like it is a branded one that costs like 30 quid or whatever to just it crushes ice
yeah, same like
essentially.
my NutriBullet. I would like recommend that to anyone
Oh yeah,
wholeheartedly.
those things are
Again,
great. Jen, I got given one, and like again, just we're giving out all these endorsements for free, Carl. What are we doing?
it's almost like if you make a good product, people will want to just talk about it.
And it is that
It's like
weird thing, isn't it? Though, like of trying to be online, and you, I'm like, I recommended a product, but why am I not getting paid to recommend a product now?
because sometimes things are just good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that really great image that floats around online sometimes. It's like, when you get an upgrade on Windows 10 or whatever, and they
Mm.
always give you this like the survey that you never answer. You always click off it straight away. But if you look
Hmm.
at some of the questions, it's like, oh, would you like on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend Windows 10 to a friend? And
Oh
it's
yeah,
like other, and the person just writes at the bottom, nobody talks like this.
yeah.
Nobody just randomly recommends operating systems to their friend.
Unless it's a Linux user, Carl.
Oh yeah, then they'll do it all. I
Yeah,
think,
they'll
but
sit there all day and be like, no, but Linux is the best. Use Linux.
I know
All
it's got the
right,
best
calm
logo.
down.
It's got the best logo.
It
It's a
does.
penguin called Tux, but that's the only thing I know about Linux. But for the people who are filtering in to watch live online, as usual, just we record this with the cameras on so people can see us because that's
Yes.
the thing people wanted to see. We will refer to chat occasionally as and when we feel like it, but yeah, this is not like interact with chat podcast. We actually just recorded our thing doing that, didn't we? The Q&A.
Yeah, we did. Thank you for reminding me to just mention it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did our like QA episode again. We're trying to do them on about a monthly basis. Nothing strict schedule wise, but
Mhm.
you can send any burning questions you've got to karlscornerqa@gmail.com. It'll be in the description below for you.
Yeah, and a couple of questions were really good. Like we had a really long discussion about like, the video games we'd like to make,
Hmm.
and I
Yeah.
think I just like knocked it out of the park with that one as like
Well,
just a hint.
you gave an answer that made me not answer. It was that good.
Because something I've been thinking about for a long last time. I won't get into that because I've already like just explained in great detail what that is, and it will hopefully encourage some of the people out there listening to go, I wonder what Carl's like ideal game would be.
Yeah, and I think
I
that
should go
will
think
be
about that
live.
podcast.
We haven't actually discussed what day it'll go live, but I presume like this weekend on podcast services in between like the two episodes or something.
Yeah, as a way to say, like, yeah, this is a thing that we do now. And yeah, you mentioned just like the heat. The heat's getting to you, Lucas.
It is a bit, but as I said, just like the ice drinks are getting me through life.
It's as well. Like you just look at it and go, I need this.
Yeah, and I feel like it's bad to complain about a heat in the
With
UK
America,
when like Canada's 50 degrees in some part at the moment. It's like, yeah, the like people are genuinely in a horrible fucking position. I can't complain about it being 20 degrees and a little bit sweaty.
like some of the pictures that I've seen of like a guy who's just like, yeah, my candle's melted. Like candles indoors melted. And then another one I saw is like a dude. I think it was like no, it was a power company. If you're wondering why your power went out, this is what the cables look like, and the cables had melted.
I saw a few Bungie developers who make Destiny, just
Mhm.
like, yeah, turns out I can't
I
work today because my laptop just broke and overheated.
For 1 second, I thought you were going to say bungee jumpers.
The
And
bungee
I'm like,
jumpers
oh,
thing.
that'd be terrifying. If you booked a bungee jump today, this is why you can't go. And it's just a melted rope that would keep you up in the
With
air.
just like you look down and it's just that little red spot. Like, oh no, no.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, the
god, that
bungee
sounds
cords have
awful.
been snapping in half due to the heat. But I've seen like, yeah, genuinely, like things like roads are splitting in half and shit like
Yeah,
this because of
roads
the heat.
melt,
Crazy.
like dogs catch on fire, birds just like fly in circles, like penguins are like just melting into puddles, stuff like that.
Oh god.
It's not an ideal time for anyone over there, but yeah, it's not on. And my heart goes out to anyone who's dealing with that.
Mm.
But at the same time, like I think we mentioned before, like Americans are insufferable when it comes to talking about the heat. because over in the UK, climate control devices aren't really a thing.
Not a
So that seems like
popular
no
thing.
large
They're
building.
not a widespread thing now.
They're certainly not like a thing that's used in the home all that often.
No.
So you always get smarmy Americans go, "Oh, you don't know what real heat is." It's like, but we don't have air conditioning.
Yeah, and I remember like a couple of weekends ago, it was like Father's Day, and I was mentioning this because like a lot of that interaction happens uh with like talking to Americans and stuff. It's like, yeah, you don't know what heat is, and my dad was just like, yeah, every time I'm in America, it's just dashing from one air conditioning building to the next. It's yep,
Yeah.
like, just try and stay inside as much as possible because as counterintuitive as that sounds, over there, yeah, have air conditioning for the most part.
Whereas over here, you just have to do that. You have to make that choice of, I can sit here and stew, literally stew in my own juices, or open the window and just let the pterodactyls in. Just let those giant raisin-looking motherfucker flies, who only ever seem to just fly directly through. Because have you ever seen one of those flies outside?
uh, not often, not often.
That's the thing. You never see giant, big,
Mm.
like blue bottles outside, just in the environment. But the moment you open a window, they come inside. Where are they
Mm.
coming from? I'm like 180 feet in the air in my flat.
God,
So,
yeah.
like, unless there's a dog shit on the balcony below me, what the fuck are those flies doing there?
It's like, I think even worse. So is Daddy Longlegs.
I
Like,
I hate those because they're just so late. Oh.
and just the amount of time since I've moved, because like we've moved to a house rather than a flat. So obviously, like we've got a garden and stuff, and there's just insects everywhere. And
Yeah.
yeah, the daddy long legs getting in, and then you're just sitting there like playing last night, just Final Fantasy 7 remake on my big TV with the lights off, just getting into it, and then the daddy long legs like doo, 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 against the screen, like oh no.
Yeah. Well, that's the worst for me. It's like when you sat there, you're like if you got your laptop or something on, and like a
Oh.
daddy long flies into the screen. And I guess for Americans, daddy longlegs, that's the name of the spider. It's used interchangeably over here for the spider and the flying insects.
Hmm.
We don't have flying spiders, but they're crane flies, and they
Oh, is
look
that what
like
their actual
spiders.
name is?
I think the technical, yeah, I think they're known as crane flies, but they're interchangeably like, 'cause you have daddy longlegs, the spider, and then the flying insect.
Right, yeah, I don't believe we get the
And
actual spider over here, do we?
yeah, we do get daddy longlegs. They're harvestmans. The long
Okay, so
skinny.
it's literally just different terms for different
Yeah,
folks, yeah.
like so my old house used to have harvestmans that lived under the what's it called now? Not the banister. What's the thing outside below your window? Your
Windowsill?
windowsill, but it's the outside window. Maybe I guess it's just the windowsill. Like
Yeah.
them. We used to get them. They used to live under there. So when you'd open the window, they'd crawl up around, and they'd all be on the side. It's like, oh,
I walked like we've got like a little awning area just from our back garden, but like from our back door to a little bit of the back garden. So there's just a bit of like a covering basically. So you can get out your back door, and the entire doorway there's just a spider that set up a giant spider's web. I literally walked through it last night. And it like brushed against the top of my head. I was like, what was that? And then I turned around and there was like a couple of bits of my colourful hair just in the spider's web. I'm like, oh no,
oh yeah.
like he's
I
getting my hair, he's stealing it.
that's the one of like I'd describe it as a Tekken 10 hit combo when I walk through a spider's web.
Hmm.
I just do like Kazuya's 10 hit combo
Yeah.
whenever it's like just everywhere. I'm not messing with none of that. God, I hate spiders so much. So it's like, just draw the conversation away from spiders right now because I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy with that conversation. I feel like a spider's watching me right now, and I've got white walls, so I see when spiders are in.
Right behind
Don't say that.
you.
I fucking hate that shit. It's like like I think it's an Extra Fabulous comic maybe
Hmm.
where it's just it shows you a guy sat on the toilet and there's a spider in the corner of the room. And he looks up and goes, "Oh, there's a spider on the wall." So I guess I'm just going to stare at that the entire time I take a shit. And it shows him like looking into the top corner. And while he's doing that, like 50 spiders crawl into his trousers as he pulls his pants up. And he just does the zoom in on his face. He's
Well,
like, yeah, I made a terrible mistake.
I remember you made that joke in a Fat Fiend video once as I just like Photoshop, just put a picture in of like a spider creeping in the corner, and you're just like, oh yeah, there's one right behind you. And then the amount of comments that people are like, why the fuck did you put that in?
It's because it happens to me all the time.
Mhm.
It's like the one that I tell is the story of my mum told me when she went to work and there was a spider hiding inside the toilet roll tube. And
God.
she told me that story, and now I check every single time.
Well,
And because I do check every single time, I tell that story as much as I can online, so everyone else does it too. 'Cause if I have to check every time, so do you.
the thing is, I'm not too bad with spiders so long as they're not just giant ones, like, and I say giant, relatively speaking, we're not Australia or anything, but,
Yeah.
the little itty bitty spiders I'm, like, okay with, and I was sitting there the other night editing, and I just looked up, because I thought I saw something in corner of my eye, and I've got, like, 3, frames with, like, posters in, just, behind my desk, and I saw a spider crawl out of the bottom of one of them, look around and crawl back up, and just it must live behind one of my photo frames, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I guess, like, if you stay there, you're not doing me any harm, but if you decide to try and take over this place, we're gonna have a war."
Yeah. It's
But it was
like
just that
we've got
moment where it, like, disappeared behind the photo frame before I even knew what was going on. I'm like, "Oh, shit." It lives
yeah, we've
there
got
now.
like house plants, and there's a spider that's taken refuge on one of the house plants. It's
Mm.
fair enough because I don't want fruit flies on it, but it's like you stay on that plant because I know you're there. I'll not touch the plant. I'll just water it gently from afar.
Yeah, and that's the thing, personally, I would rather have a spider or 2 in the house than have a bunch of little flies everywhere, but when they start trying to get all cocky and take over the place, that's when I've had enough.
It's just when they start walking across your carpet.
Yeah,
None of that.
that's when they shit you up.
Like spiders should not be on carpet.
Again, it's always when you're sitting there and you've turned off all the lights and you're watching the TV in the
And you'll
dark, isn't
see
it?
it just the it's the glint of the Argos advert because it's really bright and white where you can see it and it's gone.
God.
You just oh god. Have you ever had a spider get you in the bath?
Not in the bath, no.
You've not had one in the bath because that's probably the most inopportune time I've been attacked. I think I've told the story of when I was in bed and a spider ran across my laptop screen.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was bad. And the other time was I was in the bath and we didn't realize because we had all the bubbles and it'd taken refuge on a sponge that was floating. And I didn't realize. I think it was when I was like 6 or 7. So me and my brother would we'd bath together,
Yeah, yeah.
save water. Northern household, you got to save water. And I just
Northern
remember my
rule.
brother seeing it and then flipping it towards me because he didn't want it near him. And I just stood up in the bath and just water's everywhere. My mum's scared of spiders, so she ran out of the bathroom as well. So it's me and my brother screaming in the bath, splashing all the water out to get the spider.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, you're always at your most defenseless when you're just naked and wet, like,
That's
in
the
the
one.
bath, like, "No!"
And it's when the spiders know to get you.
They do.
It's
Oh.
like just oh god, there was 3 people in that bathroom and it was fucking wrecked for like a week. Like I said, me and my brother just splashed all the water out of it onto the floor, and my
Mm.
mum won't come in to help us.
Oh, God. And that's the thing is, like, back in the day, I had a couple of bad experiences with wasps, and now I'm, like, really bad with wasps to the point where I scream and run away. And I feel really bad because, like, there's been a couple of times, and over the past few years, my relationship with Jenna just there's a wasp comes into the room, and I just flee and leave her to it. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I love you, but like I'm hiding behind this door because there's a wasp.
it's that wasp. Oh, that's the worst one. So have you ever like managed to like slap a wasp?
And I don't know because just I just as I say, I scream and run, Carl.
Because when they come for you, like, you can do the thing, you can backhand it to like knock it down
Hmm.
and leave you alone. And I've done it once. I was doing it once. I think I had like a hot dog or something at a theme park. And bam! And I slapped the wasp down, and it left me alone. It's like, yeah, that's right. Protect my hot dog.
See, when I was a kid, again, one of the many bad experiences I had was like I was wafting a wasp away, hit it, and then it got pissed off and stung me. So I don't even like to try and get rid of them. I'm just like, oh god.
You almost have to respect a creature that is what, like 10,000 times smaller than you are, gets hit by the equivalent of us being hit by a garage door moving at 50 miles an hour, and then goes, you know what, fuck you.
Oh god. Yeah, that's the one. I kind of respect the balls, but at the same time, fuck wasps.
Like the fact that they'll attack you. You're like so much larger than they are, and they're like, I can do
I
it.
can take him.
It's like you look at the Statue of Liberty and think to yourself, I could stab it.
I can have that
That's
one.
the equivalent. It's that I
Yeah.
can have it. It's like, no, you can't. And then the wasp season goes, but I can now.
There's always one guy though, isn't there? He's had a drink, he looks at the Empire State Building. Like, I could take that down.
I think I say there's always one guy who's had a drink who thinks he can, like, get rid of wasps. Like, Joe, they always try that manly thing of grab it in the bare hands,
Yeah.
then it stings them, and they cry.
I don't blame him.
Speaking of, like, grown men crying, the football match happened yesterday.
Oh
Okay, it's
god, yeah.
England versus Germany, and I didn't realize it was England versus Germany, but I probably would have realized it was because after England beat Germany, the people in my building, you could hear people going, England. It's like, fucking hell.
And
The other people who were clearly drunk at 8 o'clock,
yeah, yeah.
and they're treating it like they've won the World Cup because we beat Germany, and it's like, this is really embarrassing. My girlfriend had never experienced this before.
Oh
She's
yeah.
American, and like I told her about how um, English people over like 35 to 40 years old think they fought in World War II.
Yeah.
And when England versus Germany happens, like you have never seen, like people treat it like they personally stormed the beach of Normandy.
Mhm.
And you could just hear people in our building like going ape shit because England beat Germany.
Yeah, and I always see it online now, like over the past, what few tournaments because they happen every few years, every
Mhm.
couple of years. Like every time that it's England versus Germany, the Germans are all like, you know that we do not care, right? Like we just see England as another club, and
Yeah.
England, as you say, England fans seem to be like in the mindset that they're still fighting fucking World War Two. It's like, oh, screw Germany, they're all rivals. It's like, what?
That's the
What?
thing. If people don't know, Germany do have a footballing rival, and it's the Netherlands.
Hmm.
Germany largely see the Netherlands as their footballing rival, and that's the match that gets them excited. That's where they think that their rivalry lies. So when they verse England, they don't give a shit, but English
Yeah.
people really, really do. And I don't think anything sums it up more than just like a series. I think it was an image the BBC put out, like Joe, and like the match is over. Generally,
Hmm.
like pan across the crowd. You would get like crowd, like the jubilation and like the commiserations of the people in the audience, and there was like a brief zoom in on like a little girl
Oh, I
with a
saw
German
this.
flag, and she's crying because her
Hmm.
national team have lost. And the amount of vitriol put towards this little girl,
Like people online laughing at this presumably about 10-year-old girl who's
yeah,
crying because her national team lost, as most fully grown men do when they're like, when
that's
the
what I was
England
about
team
to say. Yeah,
loses, and they're
because
all like, haha, fuck that little girl, she deserves
and
it. It's like watching a football match.
and they're using the most vile, horrific insults towards this like little
Yeah, I'm
girl.
not going to say what they were actually.
Yeah, they're like some of the things they said were awful, but it's really funny because I thought, like, as a someone who's like lived in England, seen football matches, you can probably attest the fact that grown men will burst into tears when England lose.
Mhm. Yeah.
I've seen grown men cry at penalty shootouts
Mhm. And
because
I'm
the
like a
millionaire
fan
needs to
of.
kick.
I'm not a big fan of international football as much because like I think I was jaded from a very young age with England, and but like yeah, I do enjoy club football, and I'm a Liverpool fan, and like I've been in that situation where you're watching a final or whatever, and it does get quite emotional if you're really into it, but it's just funny that yeah, there's all these men laughing at like a 10-year-old girl crying when they'll go do the exact same thing when England.
Yeah, and I've seen it. I've seen grown men like throw full pint glasses because England have lost. Like when I used to work in bars.
And I
Like
I
I
saw
have
like
legitimately seen people like entire pint glasses thrown at a TV screen because someone misses a penalty kick.
yeah, I saw videos today of like loads of England fans getting in fights and stuff outside, like loads of just essentially small riots occurring outside pubs because England won a match, and everyone's just drunk and overhyped and like just like not football fans, but those type of football fans, like the
Yeah.
football hooligans, are just the worst.
Or just the old men who just they've got nothing else in their lives. And I just thought that was interesting that like a little girl having the reaction that a child would have
Yeah,
is being mocked by the same people whose immediate first reaction to their team winning is to start hurling abuse at a child.
yeah. Who's the real immature one here? Is it a 10-year-old crying because she's just a 10-year-old, or is it, as you say, yeah, fucking knobheads?
fully grown men crying. And that's something like in my house, like in my building, you can hear people like starting chants because they won.
Yeah, and that'll happen, and
It's surreal.
it's
It's
one of those
surreal to
of
experience.
I just I get it. I get, supporting a team and being part of that camaraderie, but those kind of people take it way too far.
That's something that they act like they scored the goal,
Mhm.
and that's what makes it so amazing. Like just to witness.
It's like I understand, yeah. As I say, like all that camaraderie and enjoying and following a team and supporting a team, but when you take it personally that like your football team wins or loses, it's like you had nothing to do with it. Like it's not the end all and be all of your life, and to some people they make it out like it is.
It is, yeah. And what's like the most or the biggest overreaction you've seen while watching a football match? Do you have any like spring to mind? 'Cause I've been to a couple of like parties for like Euros matches and World Cup matches, and I like do recall at one of them, like not a friend, but like know a friend of a friend who was there,
Mm.
like legitimately standing up and leaving the room to go yell in the other room during a penalty shootout.
Yeah, I haven't had like with international football had that experience, but went to a pub once to watch Liverpool versus Everton, which is like the local rivalry
The big derby, yeah.
match, the big derby, yeah. And went to a pub and Liverpool scored a goal about maybe half an hour into the match or whatever, 20, 30 minutes in. And just the entire pub broke out in a fight because it was a mixture of Liverpool and Everton fans. And we just had to walk out because the entire pub just turned into a fucking bar brawl, and we were like, "Okay, let's get out as quickly as we can."
So it's always baffled me though about that is that you watch the match and at the end of it they all shake hands.
Mhm.
And the people on the pitch always shake hands and the people at home don't.
Yeah, they don't give a crap. They're like, "We all got a paycheck. Good job, guys. Like, let's trade t-shirts. Let's shake hands." And you
Straight
get
on
the
fucking
occasional
eBay.
dickhead footballer that doesn't, but for the
Yeah,
most part.
refuse to shake hands, like, or just like goes and sulks in the changing rooms. And generally, those same kind of fans will make fun of those players for doing that, and that's very weird. But Lucas, like, is there anything you've done this week or you want to like talk about? Because there is something that all my attention was drawn towards this morning that I thought could be quite fun to talk about.
Okay, well, I've had a pretty normal week so far, so you go ahead.
Okay. So to set the scene, this morning I was just doing my exercises in the other room,
Mhm.
as I do every other day. My girlfriend just put her head in hands, like as she often does when like I'm in the room. But this time was different because it wasn't caused by me. And I asked her, "What's going on?" And she was reading a tweet. And this tweet just had her just like this. She couldn't move. It's like, "What's going on?" She went, "I can't. I can't believe it." And for the context here, my girlfriend is Asian. So let's just and what she was to draw my attention to, we had a big old discussion about, and I wanted to talk about today because it's so fucking funny. Is a tweet by a lady called Vanessa Chan, and there's a new website that is launching very soon, or is currently launched, or is like in like a soft launch where it's live but there's no content on it yet,
Right.
called Yoke. And Lucas, would you like to hear about Yoke?
The way that you said that, probably not, but let's go ahead anyway, Carl.
Okay, so we have here the Publish With Us section. So this is for Yoke.tv. Yoke is the multimedia magazine for the uninhibited, authentic expression of Asian American identity. It's the end of doing what's expected and a celebration of, and I quote, all the colours in and around yellow. So no one listening at home can see Lucas's face now, but he is giving the biggest of big side eyes.
Yeah, what?
We celebrate Asian American Pacific Islanders, creative voices, and thought leaders on our platform. We're currently looking for articles, columns, short films, music videos, photos, and webcomics. We're especially interested in irreverent analysis of politics, society, and pop culture. We appreciate content that explores the tension where two Asian Americas, old versus new, intersect and where Asians and, again I quote, near Asians coexist. And we're looking for lighter fare, including humour pieces and stories that surprise and delight. And this is what confused my girlfriend, because what the fuck is a near Asian?
Like, is that a weeb? I don't understand. Like, I don't get it.
Well, Lucas, weeb will be less insulting than what a near Asian actually is. So we continue here. We have just advertise on yoke.tv first. Like, so this is like, and I should point out that the only thing currently on the website, with the exception of a brief introduction that doesn't tell you what the website is,
Mm.
that blurb I just read out, which has since been edited to remove one specific word. And there is the advertising section and the Meet Our Writer section. And the advertising section reads as follows: Want to reach an incredible audience that is educated, high income, and actively consumes a higher percentage of income on high value goods? Yoke.tv reaches a coveted audience of Asian Americans who represent the fastest growing segment in North America, as well as their colleagues, friends, and non Asian family.
So are they implying that Asian Americans are richer?
I believe the socio economic demographics of Asian people, they tend to be higher earners and things like that. But we can get into a discussion of like why this is problematic in a moment. But then we have here just the description of the head writer. And Lucas, I'm going to show you a picture of the head writer right now. And just
Okay.
describe her to the folks at home before I read
Well,
her.
am I right in saying that's a grayscale picture?
Yeah, it's a grayscale picture of a white blonde lady.
I was going to say, she looks like a white blonde lady. I couldn't be 100% sure, but because, like, focus on the camera and
Yeah.
it being grayscale, but it looked like a white blonde lady to me.
Yeah, and she's the senior editor and head writer for the website, which, remember from the description, Lucas, is supposed to be providing a platform for Asian Americans. And her platform is it's Heather Lowenthal. Heather Lowenthal is Yoke's senior editor and columnist, writing about the cultural blind spots in her white perception, revealed only after she married her Asian American husband. So, Joe, they say near Asians, they mean just people like that who
So
just
she's saying that she married an Asian person, so qualifies as basically an Asian person.
no, she qualifies as someone who can speak with authority about the subject and is the head editor and writer for the website. And this is one of the things my girlfriend mentioned it to me. She went, well, technically, you could go write for these guys
Well, yeah, Karl. Yeah, why
because
not?
you basically have the same background as her, where you're dating an Asian person.
Yep.
So you qualify as near Asian, which they've changed on their website to be Asian adjacent because it's fucking awful.
Even like Asian adjacent, it like is an accurate term, but I don't think that just because you're in a relationship with an Asian person, you have authority to speak for them.
Also, as well, they're the senior editor, which
Yeah,
means that
near
on this
Asian.
website, that's like prided itself as this is a place for Asian American voices. The head editor is a white lady, but also it's worth pointing out that let's just go through just the board of directors here,
Oh
Lucas.
no, Karl, no.
So there's one member of the board of
Is
directors.
there any Asian people? That's the
That's Bob
question.
Fordson. So he's the CTO, the chief officer. We have Ben Press here. Benjamin Press, who I'd like to point out, he's the only Asian on the board, I believe, and he has an Asian mother, Chinese mother, I believe, because my girlfriend looked all this up, she was curious,
Okay.
and he was from the UK. So one of the only Asian person on the board of directors and like founders for this website that's about Asian American voices is British Asian.
Yeah.
Also, he's the husband of that lady I just showed you, I think.
Oh.
Oh, like she's married. She's like her husband is like one of these people on the board.
So if that is the case and that's him, neither of them are Asian Americans.
Yeah, and then we have this dude. He's the director for all the multimedia. And then we have just get Heather Lowenthal again.
I
And Lucas, before I get into the details, because there's more stuff that was uncovered by my girlfriend who was just like baffled.
yeah.
Just thoughts so far.
I think it's
Yeah.
fair to say that this is
Oh,
why like hiring a diverse team actually matters. Because if you maybe, had some actual Asian American voices in your team, they might have told you like
well, that's the
near
thing. They
Asian is
do
not a
have.
good term.
What's the thing? They do have like a fairly diverse pool of writing talent writing for them, but the problematic thing is that everybody in a position of authority on the website, including the people who fucking founded it and funded it, they're white.
Well,
With the
no,
exception of like
yeah,
one
that's
dude.
what I mean. Is like you shouldn't have a diverse team just on like low level positions. Like a diverse team should be even going all the way up to the top, and like can't just have a bunch of white people go, here's like the vision for our Asian American website.
Yeah, but it gets better, Lucas, because first of all, as well, I should point out that the website is called Yolk. And Lucas, what's a yolk?
It's the yellow part of an egg, the inside of the egg.
The bit that's surrounded by all the white stuff.
Yeah.
And this is what I said to my girlfriend when she told me the name of the website, and I was like, no, they didn't call it yolk, the yellow part of the egg. And I can see that. We had a discussion about it. I was like, I can see that working for like a podcast. Like,
Hmm.
a small indie website or podcast run by a bunch of Asian people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that could be like, a tongue-in-cheek joke. And then if that got bigger, I can see that becoming like, a brand name based on that. But when it
This
is
is
a
not it.
company, this is not it now. This is not the one.
No.
Because like that knowing nod about that or that self-depreciating aspect of that name comes across as really cynical
Yeah.
and really offensive when you realize that all the people making the decisions were white.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention as well, like how just blatant and nakedly obvious it is that this is a vehicle to advertise to Asian people.
Yeah. Yeah.
When, as I said, the website, as it existed this morning, because someone in chat is saying the website no longer exists for them, which I can get
Oh.
into in a moment because there might be a reason for that. But when me and my girlfriend were looking at the website this morning, despite the website soft launching, the only thing you can see besides like that mission statement, the list of all the people who work for the website, is that advertising spiel, which to me just reads as they just want to sell this to advertisers. And it's
Yeah.
like just a cynical cash grab that's like, exploiting like, this gap in the market and this hunger people have for like content produced by Asian Americans.
That's what it feels like to me. It feels like a bunch of white people sat down and went, hey, this is a demographic that isn't as heavily advertised to. We can do that.
Yeah. And it comes from a place, it just smacks of absolute insincerity, and there is zero parts of it that to me come across as authentic.
No, it really
And
doesn't feel to me like they sat down and went, we really need Asian Americans to have a voice and have a place to put that voice. That is not feel like the intention, especially when one of the only parts of the website filled out is like, hey, advertisers, come and see our affluent market like users.
yeah, and just the way they talk about Asian people as well, and like high earning, like an exploitable marketplace for you, the advertiser. Like, it's a market that's not been taken advantage of yet. It's like this is the way you're talking about the demographic you're supposedly trying to champion, and you're referring to them as like a fucking cash cow for advertisers. Also, I would like to point out that their website is shit because there's no content on it. So I worked behind the scenes in content creation and SEO work and all that sort of thing for many years. And one of the things I learned, as like a general rule of thumb, is that you can the only level of interaction you can guarantee from someone clicking on your website for the first time, you get that like 10, 15 seconds.
Hmm.
And if you can't establish what your site or service does in that time, you lose your audience.
Fair,
And
yeah.
you have to dig around on this website to see what it is they even do.
Like you would
That is,
think that if it's a place for writers to voice their opinion, that they would have come
launched with an app.
preloaded with a couple of opinion articles to start the website up.
Yeah, because that's the general rule of thumb, isn't it? Like, you can probably attest to it's like running a YouTube channel. You didn't launch your YouTube channel probably till you had at least like a couple of weeks worth of content on it.
No, exactly. Yeah, I made sure I had about like I think it was like 5 to 10 videos in the backlog edited and scheduled ready to go, so that I already have that a video or two live, and then I already have content coming through the feed.
So that way you have, or people looking at it for the first time, they have a snapshot of what to expect from the, like, if they continue to come back to your website. I described it to my girlfriend because she was like a little bit confused about the content. I went, look, imagine going into a shop that's just opened and all the shelves are empty.
Yeah, that's
Would
true.
would
Yeah.
you want to go back to that shop? It's like no. And does it make you feel you with confidence that they know what they're doing. It's like, no, it's the online equivalent of walking into an empty store with someone stood behind the counter telling you that they'll get more stock eventually, but not telling you when that stock's coming in. It's like, at that point, why bother opening?
And not even, in this case, giving you an example of how, like, what quality the stock will even be when it arrives.
Or what they're even going to sell. It's just, at this
Yeah.
time, it's just like, a store opens, it's got a nondescript name. You
It's
walk in, there's
called
no,
Yolk, Karl. Like, you
yeah.
don't know whether
And
it
that's the
sells eggs
thing.
or not.
Lucas, Yoke, that's a really bad name, isn't it?
It's not great.
And I mentioned that, the name could possibly have worked if it was, like if the website was actually founded and run by Asian people. And it turns out that there actually was a website and a magazine called Yoke that primarily focused on Asian American interests.
Okay.
And that website no longer exists. It went under in, I think, 2012 when it went under. And to the point where when this website launched, or when people started talking online, they thought it was that old website, Yoke, coming
Oh, it's
back.
come back, yeah.
It turns out no, it isn't. And you might think, well, surely how are they calling their thing Yoke then? It turns out that the original Yoke, the magazine, they never bothered to trademark their name.
Right, yeah.
So this new company, they've trademarked. This new company has.
Of
So they
course they
have
have.
taken a pre-established brand that was like an authentic voice built up. I don't know, an authentic website, created by Asian people, built up to like champion voices from Asian people, like celebrate Asian culture and like the diversity within it and the many things that they create. It went under, and now this company run by a bunch of white dudes has taken that name, that goodwill, and is now utilizing it to advertise their own product.
Look, I get it. The trademark was there for the taking, and it's a very shrewd business decision, but it's not a good
Fucking bad
look.
luck.
Yeah,
It's really, really, really bad luck.
yeah, 100%. And I get from, as I said, just cynical businessman head. Well, there's this pre-established brand without a trademark that we can go in and steal.
Mhm.
But yeah, it doesn't come across as very genuine, or as you say, good luck when they are trying to say, "Hey, look, we're here for Asian Americans, and we're here to support your voices and give you a place to like speak out." It's like, and what was the first thing you did? Well, we stole the brand from somebody else.
Yeah, some other actual Asian people
I
who
had
spent
actual good
years
intentions and a good brand, yeah.
building it up. Yeah. Isn't that fun?
And live update is that channel might not, that website might not exist
Let's go
anymore.
check, because that's why I said that person, they may have found the old yoke.com.
Yes.
Because they had yoke. So let's try yoke.tv. Let's do a live chat now, shall we? Yoke.tv. 404 not found. So let's try yoke TV, shall we? Rather than searching for We Are Yoke. Oh no, it's not been found. Oh shit, yeah, it's gone. Oh, they've taken the website down. Oh, that's incredible.
Hmm.
Hey, honey, Yoke TV's been taken down. Let's see if we get a live reaction. So, yeah, do you know that website we've been talking about now? This is what it looks like now. If you want to come look.
It's gone?
Yeah, it's been deleted.
Oh shoot, I did it like off camera. Sorry.
It's fine. It's been deleted.
No
Yeah.
way. No, we were just there.
Yeah, we were on it this morning.
Yeah, hang on. Yoke TV. Holy shit.
Lucan, we are here. We are the one authentic voice for Asian Americans. It's been taken down already.
Oh my God. So,
It was up for a day. It was up for one day.
The YouTube page still
that
exists.
I sent you, the original one that
Yeah.
went viral. It's been up for 22 hours.
Yeah,
So it took less than a day. One Twitter thread to wreck that site. Holy shit.
So yeah, that happened live. So
Well,
folks, this is one of those things. I'm going to try and keep tabs on this, because this is one of those stories. Like I said, it was initially sat by this dumb tweet dunking on this idea, but the more my girlfriend dug into it, and like I was there exercising, like keep telling me tell me everything you discover, because this is
Yeah.
like all solid gold. Like stuff about they founded the website, like they'd registered a trademark 2 years ago. After, like the stolen trademark that belonged to somebody
yeah,
else.
because I found their YouTube page with like 5 subscribers on it, and the first 4 out of 6 videos are like, join Yoke Recruitment now.
From like 2 years
No,
ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
And is there anything? I can't think of anything that would have happened in like the previous year where a cynical website trying to exploit people's interest in Asian American and just Asian culture in general would have been scared away from doing so.
No,
No.
nothing springs to mind, Karl.
Nothing springs to mind, and that's the thing as well. Like you'd think if they actually were genuine about this, like that would have been the perfect time to launch it because this is the perfect time like, to counteract. We're obviously talking about the anti-Asian sentiment that like arose from the result of COVID.
Yeah,
that would have been if you were a genuine,
especially
honest,
in
authentic.
America.
Yeah, if you
A
had
real bad problem in America, yeah.
if you had genuine intentions, that would have been the perfect time to launch that. Like it wouldn't have been the most business savvy time to do it if you try to go for like the clean corporate success. But if you genuinely had an earnest desire to have Asian American voices listen to and give them a platform with which to speak and like celebrate the diversity of their culture, that would have been their time to do that. But they
Would have
didn't.
been a
They
nice
held off.
place to put, yeah, Asian American voices and like actually get people to be able to talk about this kind of thing and give their perspective without just blindly being hated on.
Yeah. And now it was up for one day. One whole day. Isn't that incredible?
Maybe nature is healing, Karl.
Nature is healing because fucking morons. And do you know what my favorite part about that story is? Like, it's something that happens so much. Is if they would have done any focus testing whatsoever, they wouldn't have launched. Like, if they just let one Asian person look at that website and read through all that copy, because they had, like, I said, writers who were listed as working for the site, but there was no articles on there. So I can only believe that they were just like staff writers that had been contacted and were going to like work on the site when it's live. They probably had no input or influence.
I
And
would
probably,
imagine 0, yeah.
they probably didn't even see the fucking full website until it launched.
And yeah, as I said, Karl, like this is why I mentioned it earlier. Just diversity in a board of directors is important. Like because
Not even you don't even
well,
need
not
board
even board of
They
directors,
could have
but
just like they
like,
could have just asked an Asian person. That's
but
all they had to
why
do.
would you ask an Asian person, Karl? Because like they're not Asian, they don't need to think about that. Like, and that's the thing is just like, just even if you had like a couple of people to gloss this over, but they didn't think about that because why do they need to?
Like,
Why do they need to have concern for anyone but themselves?
that's the absolute just. I struggle to call it confidence because it's beyond what confidence is.
It's just stupidity.
No, it's not it's not arrogance. And it's not confidence. It's like it's something beyond both of those things that is simultaneously like taking elements of both. There needs to be a new word created to describe the kind of just swagger, like the unearned swaggering confidence of giant corporations being like, we can fucking like, this is a market we can exploit.
Yeah,
it's like it's oddly symbolic. This is happening at the end of Pride Month when you have the usual thing of companies just slowly
it's
draining all the
time to take the
rainbows.
flags down, isn't it? Yeah. Like Pride Month is over. Let's take down those rainbow flags for another like 11 months and exploit the market again.
Yeah, and we've talked before on the podcast about the idea of corporate cynicism driving social change. And just a brief view of that is like stuff like gay rights and the people just accepting trans people, like because you should, is going to be driven largely by corporations realizing that they can make money by exploiting that as a market.
Now, give me 1 second because I actually saw something relevant to that, I guess, today.
Okay.
So
I guess while you're doing that, I'll just like clarify. That's not me saying that the only driver of social change will be that. It's just that one of the major things that's going to push it forward is corporations and giant companies realizing that it is profitable to acknowledge like the existence of gay, trans, and everyone under the LGBTQIA plus banner, rather than ignore them as they have in years gone past. And
send this.
Okay, is this where's this getting sent?
To the Discord.
To the Discord. Okay, let's have a look. I'm excited.
So this, Karl, is something that IKEA have done to celebrate Pride. And IKEA have made love seats, which is
I see
10
them.
love seats inspired by different Pride flags.
Okay.
Okay, so you look at these and it's like, these are actually really cool sofas.
Yeah, I'd like thing is though, those are some swag ass sofas.
They are. And
Like
everyone
I'd have like some of these in my office. Like I would
Yeah.
put like the rainbow one in the office because who gives a fuck? It doesn't need to match anything anyway.
But Carl, you can't do that because they're not actually on sale. These are just designs to put on Twitter.
Wait, what? You can't buy these?
You can't buy these. So IKEA have designed a range of love seats to celebrate Pride, but have said they will not sell them unless there is high enough demand for them. They won't make them and sell them.
That's like the most obvious example of what we were just talking about.
Yeah, exactly. That's what just
that's-
reminded me of it.
That is like the absolute perfect encapsulation of that concept of companies will acknowledge your existence as long as it can be monetized. And it's like, this is literally them admitting it. So that was like, for me, that was a theory. That was like a theory I had. It's a theory that's pretty sound.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that it's the case, but to see it confirmed, essentially, by a giant corporation, like, we will acknowledge your existence as long as it is profitable for us.
Yeah, and they're like, well, if you all make sure that you'll buy it, I guess we'll make the effort to actually make these things. But
That's incredible.
no, here's just some Photoshop sofas.
That's proof of my theory.
Yeah.
My theory about corporate cynicism driving social change, that's the proof. That's the smoking gun right there.
And I completely forgot about it until you just mentioned it then. And I was like, no, yeah, I saw this morning. Because I literally was like, oh, I'll check the comments and see if there's like a link to buy the sofas. Because I genuinely can see how much they cost because they look awesome. No, you can't buy them.
That's actually incredible. Like, could there be a more like just bald face, just fuck you, give us money? The company is literally admitting like we don't care about acknowledging your existence unless it makes us money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's the thing. You know that every company who does that is saying that, but to see it confirmed, like they're saying it, but they're not saying it explicitly because otherwise, like, you'd get mad.
Of course, yeah.
But to see a company just like so openly admit, like, yeah, we're doing this to make money from you. We want to exploit.
Well, they're not even, I guess, doing it to make money. They're doing it for just like the social clout, I guess.
Yeah, and and that's the thing. They will continue to do it if it makes them money.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Like,
as in, like, it's awesome in terms of like just how fucking hilariously bad it is.
Yeah, of course, it's not awesome. It's a fucking disgraceful shit show.
It's awesome in terms of like, again, the confidence / arrogance of the company to do that and not expect it to blow up in their face.
And I don't know if it is blowing up in their face because
it fucking will.
Yeah, that's the thing. I imagine it's probably taken a turn because the actual tweet I saw was just, this collection is fucking awesome.
But at the same time, remember when Disney did that? Everyone's welcome under the rainbow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that got a lot of retweets. If people don't know that one, it was like Disney just put out just a fairly nondescript, like non-offensive tweet of just like, here's a rainbow with some characters underneath saying everyone's welcome under the rainbow, and everyone's like, remember when you like cut the gay kiss out of Rise of Skywalker for markets like Russia and China?
Yeah, to appease those viewers.
Yeah, to appease the like totalitarian, bigoted governments.
And I wonder if it is like specific Disney accounts, like Disney America. Only those are the ones making that statement. I do wonder.
Probably, yeah. It's like that one. You've probably seen the image floating around of like during Pride Month. People take like the screenshot of like IGN. It's like IGN America, IGN London, IGN Spain, France, and they've all got the pride flag. It's like IGN Israel, just regular IGN logo.
Well, that's what happened with the they put out. There was a whole big controversy over IGN putting out the Palestinian support link, and then all of a sudden it got taken down, and IGN Israel were like rallying against it and stuff. It's like, you guys really didn't get one big communicative team going on here, did you?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into all that because that's a totally different story. And
well, the best way it gets summed up is I think it was like an Onion headline or something like that. It's like, person with Black Lives Matter in their bio unsure where they fall on the topic of genocide. In regards to it, it's like one side trying to genocide the other. It's pretty fucking. It's like one side's like fucking airstriking hospitals. Like, maybe don't support that one.
Did see as well. It wasn't the Onion. I think. What's the game? What's it? Hard Drive.
Hard drive or hard times. Like one's music, one's gaming, but they both have like that. Like
It'd be the
hard
gaming
drive
one.
and
I
hard
think
times.
it's Hard Drive who, during all that like shit show where IGN were getting shit on, they like retweeted an article from like 3 years ago about like, oh, journalist reuses content because of like the controversy with that Philip Musing guy who just stole
Yeah.
everyone's, like, plagiarized everyone's work. Then everyone was like, are you really trying to dunk on like reusing old content by retweeting an article from 3 years ago as a dunk?
Also, that's a satire website.
Yeah.
Like they kind of get away because it's satire.
No, I know,
Like,
but at the same time, it's like you're trying to make fun of like reusing content by retweeting something that 3 years ago to dunk on IGN while they're going through a shit show. It's like, come on, like,
I'm just all for giant companies fighting each other.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it?
The more money they spend fighting each other, the less money they can spend ravaging the earth.
Yeah.
And like destroying the planet for their money.
Like, they've probably written about 50 articles that they could have dunked on IGN with, and they chose the one about reusing like old content is lazy.
It's that best thing to do with like a company like IGN because like you never need to listen to them ever again about anything. It's like stories like that, all it means is I can just in my head ignore every headline I ever see from this company ever again.
The thing is, I feel sorry for like the individuals who work there who actually give a shit, and then it's like, oh god, they have to deal with like obviously the big corporate side of that shit, and it's probably why you see a lot of people get the like big name from IGN and kind of get out.
Yeah,
of like having to deal with that shitty corporate side of things. Probably like it probably takes a toll on some of those people.
It does, and if you want to take a stand, quit.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. It's like, it sounds like a harsh, but like again, that's like that's what protesting is. Protesting is like the implied risk.
Yeah.
That's why protesting.
Well, a lot of not to get too deep into it, but a lot of them did come back out, didn't they, and like put an open letter out to the owners of IGN, and like we are not happy with what happened.
You know, like, the thing is though, they edit stuff behind the scenes. If I was them, I'd just start deleting shit. Like if you really want to like piss off the owners, just start like fucking go into the published articles on like shit that's coming up and just like just post date them for a year. Just don't have any content go up on the website so they stop making money.
Yeah, and it's like fair play for the people who were like actually willing to come out against the big corporation, but no, it's that whole story was, I think it's still probably ongoing as well.
It was, and it was really like sad as well to see just them slowly clawing. Because I remember I saw the headline, I was like, wow, like it shouldn't be something that is applauded, but for the fact that it's like the only big gaming company that I've seen make this statement,
I think
that's impressive.
GameSpot have been doing some aid to.
Well, they did that, and I'm like, well, that's like commendable that they did that. And then I saw like just the story go throughout the day of they changed it. They changed from the Palestinian flag to the Red Cross flag.
Yeah.
And then they changed the language to be less active and made it very passive in regards to like what was actually happening there. And then I saw the article had been removed, and it's like at this point you could have literally done nothing, and it would have been better for your bottom line.
Probably.
And that's got to suck at it when like after everything, it's like literally doing nothing would have been better.
Because I can't imagine we would be having this conversation if
they just
the link had just stayed up.
No.
And it wouldn't have been a story.
Or if they just not posted anything.
Yeah, but obviously that's clearly the editorial team versus the big company that owns them. I can't remember the company that owns them. It's clearly like
media or something.
Yeah, I 100% think is editorial going, look at this cool thing that we can do and like create an active fundraising page, and then the corporate heads go, oh, people aren't going to be happy about that. Fucking get rid.
That's why I'm glad that there are no corporate overlords at FactFeed or Big Wires.
I mean, I guess Karl is the corporate overlord.
I am. But that's the thing, I'm the corporate overlord and I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm the corporate overlord and I think that, like trans people are people. And that's like apparently a weird opinion for a giant corporation to have, not in July.
Yeah.
It's only an opinion you're allowed to have as a corporate entity in June.
Well, this has
I
been
believe that year
posted
round.
in July, Carl. So where do
Yeah,
we
no.
fall on that? Like, do we
Fine.
support Pride because we're technically recording in June, or do we just remove all mentions of Pride and human rights from this because it's being published in July?
Well, the one for me is I'm a big proponent of the idea of like after Pride Month we need to have Wrath Month, and Wrath Month is where gay people and people like fall into that spectrum, people like just allies of
Yeah.
everyone who falls into that spectrum, they should just during July take it upon themselves to just shit talk and troll every company who actively leveraged Pride Month for money. To ask them, okay, so what are you doing? That's me Wrath Month, and if they don't
That'd
have
be great.
a good answer, fucking give that company what for.
Oh,
Wrath
but
Month.
we changed our logos to rainbow logos. Okay,
Okay, so how
well,
much money are you donating to like the
yeah.
Trevor Project or like Mermaids or something like
Did
that?
you donate to any cause? Did you change your like hiring processes to be more diverse and make steps towards making your teams more diverse or anything like that? Well, we made a rainbow flag though. We put out multiple rainbow flags over the month. Okay, but yeah,
Like I said,
I'm
mate,
down for Wrath Month where we call
Wrath
this shit
Month,
on it.
where you call those companies the fuck out and ask them, what the fuck have you
Because you
done?
know what? Yeah, Pride is not the place to do that. Like June is
Yeah.
the month to celebrate
Celebration.
Pride. Yeah, it is a month to be, proud. I was about to say pride. It's a month to be proud, but then yeah, Wrath Month. I like it. Let's make July
Yeah,
Wrath Month.
mate, July should be Wrath Month. Let's get it trending, folks.
And I hope
I'm not
everyone
sure.
like realizes. I'm sure they do that. I was joking about the whole like June, July. Should we say things or not?
No,
Human rights matter.
we are being like so sarcastic, but sarcasm is something that doesn't really travel well online, and
It
especially does
doesn't,
not
and that's
travel
why
across borders.
even though I think there is no way listening to this hour worth of conversation that anyone could have misconstrued what I said, I still have to make sure because there's always one.
Yeah, people do, and people will like be disingenuous about it and try and frame it. But so yeah, I'm glad that we got to have that conversation because I got to get that reaction from my girlfriend, and for that alone, it was worth it. But Lucas, anything you've seen or experienced this month? Oh, not this month, this week. Have you seen it? Is anyone like sending like dunkings online, or be like putting their foot just all the way into their mouth?
I honestly think I've been quite light on the drama side this. Like, I haven't really seen or done much, like, in terms of anything to mention on the podcast, other than like playing some good video games.
That's all. We have to like live vicariously through others most of the time now.
We do, yes.
And that's why we do. And what video games you played? Like any new ones that I should be aware of?
Well, I've actually been good, and I've been committing to a single game for once in my life because I two games on the bounce now. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Hmm.
I was playing that game, and I was playing that game, and now I'm
Yes.
doing the same with Final Fantasy VII Remake. And this is obviously
Yeah.
not including the games we're recording or streaming, whatnot.
Yeah.
Just in my own personal time, like I'm actually committing to a singular game, and even when I'm sitting there the other night and am I in the mood for Final Fantasy? I want to play another game because that's what just happens in my head. I always want to be bouncing
Yeah.
between games, but the moment I boot it up, I'm like, no, I did want to play this.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I do enjoy this game and I did want to play this, but for some reason I sit down and go, yeah, but I've been playing this a lot. Like, I should play something else. And I'm like,
It's a
no,
good game.
Lucas, sit down and
It's a-
fucking finish a game.
So that's what I've been doing with Yakuza 7.
Yeah.
And that game is so fucking dense.
Mm-hmm.
I'd argue like the Yakuza series is like collectively the most densely packed gaming experience I have ever fucking seen. Nothing like typifies that better than the fact that recent Yakuza games have entire other games inside of them that are such high quality. They are people buy Yakuza to play those mini games. For example, in Yakuza 7, they have Virtua Fighter 5 is just in the game.
Oh, right, yeah.
You can go to arcades and play Virtua Fighter 5. The full game is just in the game. So they have the entirety of Virtua Fighter 5 inside Yakuza 7 that you can play, and you can even go onto the main menu of the game, Yakuza 7, and play two-player Virtua Fighter. So you're essentially getting Virtua Fighter 5 for free. And the game is so complete that in Judgment, I believe they have the latest build of, or the latest arcade build of Virtua Fighter 5 to exist. is in that game. So it's like the only real place to play the final arcade build of Virtua Fighter 5 is in Judgment, and they were holding Virtua Fighter 5 tournaments where you had to have 2 copies of Judgment to play online.
Wasn't there
So
like another full game that they put in Judgment as well? I can't remember.
They-
Unless I heard
they-
about like I
They
saw
probably did. They have multiple versions of Virtua Fighter across all of the Yakuza games, though, and they have like fully fledged mini games. Like they have like Afterburner in there. They have like what was it now? Afterburner, Outrun. They have the motorcycle version of Outrun. I forget what it's called. They even created like a game from scratch called like Boxelios that they put into one of the Yakuza games. I'm honestly waiting for there to be like a Yakuza remaster that includes an old Yakuza game. Like they are so ridiculous. Like, the amount of stuff that is in these games is it's almost incomprehensible just how densely packed they are with content, and the amount of just shit that is in there is
Yeah,
insane.
because like I remember, like I had not really experienced Yakuza as a franchise, other than seeing images and gifs and until we played through Yakuza 0 on your gaming channel.
And there's like so much content in there. Like we were playing a new game plus, and it still took us 50 hours to complete it.
Yeah, it did, and I was so surprised by the amount of detail put into like there's like the one where there's the cabaret management management game, which people essentially play as an entirely different like 30-hour game.
Because it takes like 20 hours plus to complete in its entirety, and you get like in-game bonuses that are super. It's how you unlock the final fighting style. You have to complete that mode, and then there's another full mini game of like a housing management sim that has a full entire side story that's like fully acted out and includes real people because they scan the actors into the game in real life and put them in. And that's how you get like the final fighting style. And then there's like Yakuza 5, which has 5 playable characters, all of which have, because I'm playing Yakuza 5 as well at the moment. Yakuza 5 has 5 playable characters, all with their own unique moveset, including, and one of the characters you play as is a girl who's an idol, and they have an entire idol minigame system in there, complete with dance battles and management. And then one of the characters has a fully fledged hunting sim inside their game as well. And then there's like, with Kiryu's story inside his game, there's another racing management game where you've like got to be a taxi driver, and it's so the level of minutia is such that when you're driving around as a taxi, if you accelerate too hard, you will lose points. And that's like in a whole. It's like, and then on top of that, they've got Virtual Fighter in there.
And
then every character's got like an entire like move set built around their fighting style that's unique and can be leveled up instinctively, and they've all got like unique side quests, like 30-40 side quests each that are all like fully like voiced and bollocks like that.
And I know that it's one of those things that like, yeah, it's because they've been very clever in like the use of their development time and stuff of like they reuse a lot of stuff, and it's building on the same foundations over and over again. But to me, that's clever.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If you make a good game, people like it, and people are like, I want to experience more of this world. Just keep giving people more. It's like you go to a restaurant and you order the same meal you've ordered like 5 times before, and they bring out the same meal on the same plate. It's like, oh, well, yeah, why would you not use the same plate? Why would you not use the same like utensils to cook this? Because I'm asking for the same thing.
Yeah,
I just wanted a different topping on it.
And I did find out what I was alluding to a minute ago. So Lost Judgment.
The game is in Judgment.
Lost Judgment, not Judgment. So the new, I think the sequel to Judgment. That is coming out, and like in one of the trailers, they show that the character has just a Sega Master System with a CRT TV in their room, which you can then sit down and play full Master System games. And they said there will be a selection. They've shown off like an Alex Kidd game that you can play, but there is going to be a selection of full Master System games that you could just play on this like fake CRT Master System set up in his room.
Didn't they have that in one of the Pokemon games? Or Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing.
Wasn't there an Animal Crossing game where they put in full Nintendo games?
Yeah, and they took it out because basically it'll stop people buying re-releases of NES titles. And Animal Crossing on the GameCube, I think it was, might have been N64 and GameCube, had a collection of NES games, or maybe I can see like how many there were.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's while you're like finding that list of games, like fuck it, let's just talk about games that contain like just ridiculous amounts of content. 'Cause the one that sticks in my mind, so I'm gonna write an article about it,
Mhm.
or it was an entry on an article, is the game The Darkness. Do you like based on the comic book, Jackie Estacado?
Yeah, is that
You
the one
like the
where
weird
you got the tendrils?
the tentacles on your arm,
Yeah.
yeah, the weird dark spells. They just put in a bunch of public domain movies and TV shows
Mhm.
that will play on TVs around the world, like in the game world, that you can just sit and watch, including because there's a bit in the game where you've got to watch a movie with your girlfriend, and your girlfriend falls asleep after like a minute, and then you can leave. But you can just sit down and watch the entire movie, and you get an achievement for it.
Of course you do.
And they have like entire episodes of like the Flash Gordon serial from the 50s just in the game,
Fucking hell.
playing on TVs in the background, like entire movies just in the game. So you've got the list now, the list of things that are like featured in Animal Crossing.
Yeah, so apparently this is in Animal Forest plus Animal Forest E plus, which are like, you know, in Japan it's Animal Forest, and then Animal Crossing, which is like the GameCube release we got after the N64 one.
Okay.
And it says that like they are NES games that can be played as if they were the original. And then you've got like 8 different ones that you can obtain from Nook's Lottery, Red or Berry by villagers. And then 2 more obtained from the island, another 5 from Nintendo giveaways. There's 4 more that are unobtainable without external assistance, such as like the e-reader cards or cheating devices. So yeah, that's like what, 19 different NES games overall that were programmed into that game.
Almost as many as you got on like what is it, the SNES Mini?
The NES Mini, yeah, had like
Oh yeah,
30 or something.
yeah. So almost as many as you got on that for free in a game that's already a huge complete game experience.
Yeah.
Any like
And
standout ones appearing on there that like just
well,
jump to mind?
there's a lot of the classics. You've got like Balloon Fight, Donkey Kong, Junior Math. You got Warriors Woods, Donkey Kong Junior, Donkey Kong 3, Punch Out, Mario Bros, Ice Climbers, Super Mario Bros, and Legend of Zelda, amongst other games.
Just in the game.
Just sitting in there. And obviously, when they started doing things like Animal Crossing on the Wii, where the like the what you call it, the virtual console was a thing, is that, well, we can't be putting these into Animal Crossing because we sell these games now.
Yeah. Oh, and it's a shame, isn't it? Because like that's such a they probably take up no memory whatsoever, but it adds so much.
Like, I think back in the NES days, you're talking kilobytes for a game.
Yeah, and the one that I like is in regards to Yakuza, is they put so much love and effort into this completely ignorable aspect of it, and in the entirety of Virtual Fighter, the company just got given the Virtual Fighter license, and just got. Have you seen Virtual Fighters coming back?
Virtua Fighter, like I can't remember what it's called. Ultimate
Virtual-
Showdown got released on
Yeah.
PS5, didn't it? Like a
Yeah,
PS Plus game that just came out.
they're and that's been made with the Dragon engine, which is what they make Yakuza on.
Oh, okay.
So they just gave it to the Yakuza developers, like, fuck it, you keep putting our game inside your game anyway, so just remake it in the Dragon engine.
I was wondering what had happened with that because yeah, it's like, oh, Virtua Fighter 5 re-release is coming to PlayStation Plus. I was like, why Virtua Fighter 5 of all games? Like 10 years later, is it getting a re-release? Like,
Because yeah, they've remastered it using the Dragon engine.
yeah.
Which I love as well, it's called the Dragon engine. It's like they could have called it anything else but fuck you, Dragon engine. It's like, was it Metal Gear Solid with the Fox engine?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it only ever got used to make Metal Gear Solid 5 and Pro Evolution Soccer.
And I saw as well that you mentioned that in a video, and Pro Evo only used it for like a couple of years before going to a different engine anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not even being used for the Pro Evolution Soccer games anymore.
Yeah, they spent so long making that engine, and it was used exclusively for like one game.
Did it not get used for Metal Gear Survive though?
They probably just reused it for that.
I'm
yeah.
presuming
No,
so.
I don't
Like,
even
that game that we forget exists a lot of the time.
Exactly. I don't even consider it a Metal Gear game.
No.
I just consider it like, a cynical corporate cash grab, which is the theme of today's video or today's podcast. But yeah, like, can you think of any other games where they just like put a bunch of crap in that they just didn't need to do?
No, I was going to go off on a slight tangent, just talking
Okay.
about Metal Gear. And did you see that? So Death Stranding came out on PS4, and like Death Stranding is coming out for PS5, like a re-release. And the re-release is called Director's Cut.
Oh gosh, because Hideo Kojima's like a weirdo.
Because Hideo Kojima's a film like obsessed guy, and I'm like, but the entire point is it was made by Kojima Productions and overseen by you completely, Kojima. So at what point was the original game not the fucking director's cut?
Yeah, like you got absolute complete creative control over every aspect of production, and now you're telling us that there was more that you wanted to put in.
Is that you're telling us there's a secret director's cut that didn't exist, even though you were in charge of every fucking decision?
Yeah, every decision just like went through you, and you had the most creative control of anyone.
And I get all that it is like an enhanced port with probably a bit of extra content, like every fucking game does.
The name,
he had to say director's cut, didn't he?
yeah, even though it's like not the technical definition of a director's cut, which he knows because he's a huge fucking film buff, and huge ass
like
nerd.
the original Death Stranding was the director's cut, Kojima.
Yeah, I guess he was your original vision. He was your unfiltered vision.
Yeah. I should say complete unfiltered creative control. He's like, but how about you check out the director's cut that I wasn't able to release because I decided? Like, okay, Kojima, you do.
I can imagine him doing that though.
What, like editing himself so that he can release a director's cut?
Yeah, just so he can say that he did, because that's one of the things. Like, speaking of, just editing things after the fact. Did you see that they edited the end of WandaVision?
Did they?
Yeah, the end of WandaVision, they changed it only a little bit, and I won't spoil the ending for anyone who has watched it. But yeah, they added a little bit of CGI to the very, very final shot that wasn't present in the initial airing.
Is it CG that if you told me would be spoilerific?
It would, yes.
Okay.
It's CG of just something flying in from off screen.
I tell you what, why don't you just
Okay,
type the words in Discord so you can just at very least see my response to what it is? Because that seems really weird to me. Oh god, no, it didn't.
Yeah.
Because when you said it's spoilerific, I was like, well, I imagine it's one of two things that would be really cringy, and it was one of those things.
Yeah, and it's not clear, but it's just very tiny. It's like, it's an almost imperceptible change, but the fact that it's so small is what makes it so interesting.
Yeah,
because it's the idea now that like the original version that we all watched, like if you watched it live or you watched it as and when it came out, that version technically no longer exists. And that's a fascinating concept. Like, think about Game of Thrones, like Game of Thrones season 8 or season 7. I forget which one, whether was the last season.
8 was the last season, yeah.
Where it had those like the airings that had the coffee cup in them.
Oh yeah, and they removed those and the plastic bottle. Man, they shot the shit out of those, didn't they?
This thing, like, again, it's a very minor change, but the fact it's so minor is what makes it so interesting, at least to me, because that means that there is technically a different version of that show that people who watched it live saw. And that version no longer exists, at least not legally.
Because you could turn around to people and be like, oh, do you remember that time when they left a plastic bottle in one of the final seasons of Game of Thrones? It's like, oh, okay, well, show me. Like, well, I can't.
And that's the thing as well. If someone watching the show from start to finish now, they would not see that. And that's like a moment of pop culture that has just been snatched away.
Well, it's why a lot of people fight so hard for specific versions of Star Wars, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the first thing someone mentioned in chat, as if they're like going to be the first to notice it. It's like, that's obviously where we were leading.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
it's the most obvious analog.
It's the most obvious example of just somebody editing like versions of their thing, but they're not letting people access the old original versions.
Yeah, and like it's one of those things where I didn't think I needed to say that because it was implied, but then someone just had to say it.
Well, I said it because I was trying to beat people to the punch, but obviously,
someone had already mentioned it in my chat, and it's like, Yeah, they have to say it because they think that we're not gonna say it,
That we're not
even though
aware of the
it's
most obvious
obvious.
answer in the entire world.
And because I was going to ask, I was going to say, discounting Star Wars because
Mhm.
that's the most. I was like, is there any other examples like you can think of? Because that's like when I saw that and I was like, oh, yeah, but that happened with Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
And then there's like what the Cats movie where there was like
Oh
the
yeah.
bad that was the rough cut with all the bad CGI, and then that version was removed from cinemas, and we're not allowed to see that
The
anymore.
one that also comes to mind that wasn't released but was obviously massively changed was Sonic. Like
Yeah,
that version of that movie with that awful CGI cat Sonic, it did exist, and they
well, it
had
probably
to
existed in
delay the
some form.
film to change Sonic. So it exists in some form. Well, it did exist some form somewhere. I imagine they just scrapped that entire thing afterwards.
And there was a work print of it somewhere, yeah. And it's
Mhm.
like in video games, like bring it back to video games. Early copies of Budokai Tenkaichi have a different soundtrack, and that
Yeah, the
soundtrack doesn't.
HD version got completely different soundtrack because they found plagiarism, didn't they?
Yeah, because the original composer had been ripping off the songs from like German and European power metal bands, and he'd been ripping off riffs. So like that game has a different soundtrack, and that's the soundtrack. Obviously, they can't publish it anymore because it's copyright infringement. So there's like even though it is it's a rip off of another song, it's still original in a sense, and it's unique,
Well,
and that no longer exists unless you own that old version of that game.
there's actually no way to play the original campaign of Destiny 2 anymore. Because
Is it not?
to
It's
basically
all online.
people that don't know, like Destiny 2 was ballooning because it's a constantly updated game that they're adding more and more content to. So it was like last year when they added the new expansion, they're like, look, we're gonna take a lot of the old content out of the game that is no longer used anymore, but you can only play that game online connected to servers. So you can only play the updated version of the game. And
So that means that
so
people who played the game first played a completely different version of the game that no longer
yeah,
exists.
like the original
That's
campaign where
really
you
interesting.
go through and like your light gets taken away and all is the Red War campaign. That just doesn't exist. You cannot play that anymore if you're a Destiny 2 owner. And same with a couple of pieces of like the older content, include like the Black Armory and things like that. And which is, I know, to you, Carl,
Yeah, it
going
means
over your
nothing,
head in
but
terms of the names,
the
but
idea that it no longer exists in any form, and that you as a veteran player of the game would have a literal different experience to a new player today, and it's an
yep.
experience that that new player can never emulate,
Mhm.
despite the fact they are playing ostensibly the same game.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's weird. And like, honestly, it's one of those things where okay, the campaign was so it was a 7 out of 10, but
But it
that is an
doesn't exist
experience
anymore
that cannot be experienced anymore. Like
ever again. Like
that
people
can
watching Game of Thrones.
unless they put it back in. But yeah, players who pick up the game now cannot play what Destiny 2 was.
Yeah, I like people playing like Tenkaichi, like get a different soundtrack. You get a completely different
And
experience. I like when speaking of Yakuza,
hmm,
Yakuza 4 originally, the original version of the game, they based the likeness of some characters on real people. And one of the actors, like the people they based it on, was like a drugs charge or something like that, or was like suspected of one.
doing
And like
cocaine, wasn't it? Yeah.
he was in like a bit of hot water. So for the remaster, they changed his face.
Hmm.
So again, like they removed a guy from the game, but then put another dude back in. And it's ostensibly the same experience, but there's something missing, and that something is an entire person who's real. He's a real dude, and he's not in it anymore.
And I think like the interesting part is going all the way around, where now you've got something like WoW Classic that exists, where you have updated new World of Warcraft, but there's also World of Warcraft Classic that they released, which is emulating the original experience of the game and the graphics and the quests.
But they do it like
Yeah.
RuneScape. There's like RuneScape Classic.
Oh, is there with RuneScape as well? Yeah.
There's got the same thing with RuneScape, yeah. And they keep trying every time they try and like get rid of RuneScape Classic. Everyone's like, "Well, I'm not going to fucking pay a subscription anymore. I only want to play the classic version." And like that thing with what's it now? Like Yakuza, where they took the dude out. I was going to make a point from that as well. There was something else that they did.
Hmm.
I forget what it is now. Oh fuck, that's going to annoy me. There was like a point I
Sorry.
was going to make. Oh, sorry, Yakuza 0.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one because it's not that they updated it. It's that. Remember, I pointed this out to you. In the main game, there's the Chinese assassin Lao Gui, and
Yeah.
he's the guy with like the fucked up, haggard face,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks evil. He looks like fucking Palpatine. Like he's just
Oh
Chinese
yeah.
Palpatine
They look completely different in the Japanese version of the game, don't they?
in the Chinese version.
In the Chinese version, that was
Because in the
right.
Chinese version, they didn't like the fact they made the assassin character like a fucking monster. So they just make him look like a dude. And
Yeah.
it completely like changes the way that character like feels when they enter the scene.
Mhm.
Because the first time he appears, like, oh my god, who the fuck is this dude? Like he looks so evil. And then he's like this like ancient assassin who's been working for the underworld for like 3 decades, and he like comes in and he like tries to take your eye out.
Mm.
And then in the Chinese version,
He
he's
just
just a
looks like a
dude.
normal guy, yeah.
And I love that about Yakuza though, because they have like this. It's a habit of the games where they have just like really normal looking people
Mm.
end up being like super badasses, and it doesn't work for Yakuza. But I'm just gonna find just the last one now. So I need to find Yakuza. I'm gonna find one now. Last boss, like it's the last boss of Yakuza 6 is hilarious.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
find it. Find it right now. Okay, so we've got him here. I'm just gonna copy paste the image in now. So I'm gonna say this is the last boss of the entire game. I'm just going to paste a picture of him now. So if anyone wants to find this, just go look for. I'm going to find out the guy's name so people can like Google him.
It literally just looks like normal Japanese businessman without without a shirt on.
Yeah, he just looks like dude with a shirt on. Like
And admittedly a buff dude, but not overly buff. Like wearing a suit.
Here we go. So
like
his
a
name
pretty
is.
normal guy.
If anyone wants to find the guy, it's Tsuneo Iwami. And he's the CEO of Iwami Shipbuilding. And throughout the entire game, he just looks like man in suit.
Yeah.
And then for the final boss, he takes his shirt off and he's like the most ripped as balls motherfucker ever.
Yeah.
And the thing that makes it so funny to me is he looks like Iwata.
A little bit, yeah.
He looks like you fighting Iwata. And I just found that really funny. Like, the final boss of Yakuza 6 fight Iwata.
Just buff
Fight
Iwata.
the president of Nintendo. Like, Beat Takeshi's in that game. Like that famous Japanese actor, he's in the game and it's just him. And in real life, he's like 70 or something like that, and they scanned his face in. But they also made him super buff. So he looks like just Skyrim, where every character has a 6-pack no matter how old they are. He looks like that. That's all I can think of. It's like in Skyrim, where like all homeless people just have, like they have 6-packs and talk like voice actors. So they'll be like, please, like I've been playing a lot of Oblivion recently because I was bored, and I just like that a bit of like, oh, just 1 gold coin and I can feed me family. And you give them the gold coins, like, thank you, kind sir, because they have like 6 voice lines. Oh god, I just love that about Yakuza though. It's like fight this old man.
Yeah. Oh god,
he's great. So funny.
I don't know what to say after like
just changing people's faces though. It's so weird, isn't it?
Well, it's like what's the revisionist history, isn't it?
Yeah, but like in regards to media,
but
so it's
in
like
media, like meant to be a set thing that you've produced and put out, and then it's like no.
Like it's a thing that's made and exists, and then but it doesn't anymore.
Yeah,
and the concept fascinates me because the idea that things can just like so ethereal, something you think like a video game, a movie, music, like it's out there, it exists, and it's like not anymore.
Oh god, yeah, like Taylor Swift's doing it, isn't she?
Is she removing music from online or changing?
Yeah, she's because basically like she apparently had like an awful record deal that eventually like the first few albums were like not owned by her, they're owned by the record company, but now that she's big enough, she has taken down like all of her music from that record company and
she
is now re-recording it herself under a new record label and re-releasing like her first few albums. And I think it's something to do with like she owns the songwriters like rights to it, but she doesn't own the actual original songs and the masters of them.
So she's just going to like re-record it again.
So she's not allowing them to use them because she owns partial rights, but now she's making completely new versions of them without them and re-releasing albums one by one.
So that means the people like, oh god, it's like And like the legality, it's not the legalities that they fucking own it. They can do what they want with it. Like the
And I might
moral,
be mixing some bits and bobs up there, but yeah, that's essentially what it comes down to. Is she's deleting her old albums so that she can re-release them under her
yeah,
principle.
it's not. Yeah, it's not a legality argument here. Like they own the content, they can do whatever they want. It's like, but it's the moral argument of like, is it morally okay to take things like contributions to culture? It's like with something like like a YouTube video, that's what we make. If I take down a fact theme video, no one's really going to be up in arms that a fact theme video are taken down. But I mean, it's something like an album,
When it's like
especially
a
an
Taylor
album.
Swift album,
The idea that can
yeah.
just be taken away from culture,
and
and
obviously,
that
like
one
she is
person can make that
re-releasing
decision.
them, but she's taking them away for X amount of time.
Yeah, and that one person can make that decision is incredible to me. Like,
And fair play to her for being in a position now where she can afford to do that and have the balls to do that and be in such a comfortable position in her career where she's like, no, I'm gonna fucking own this shit.
but it is incredible to take it away.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, I own it. I do what I want.
Well, for the longest time, she wasn't even on Spotify, was she?
No,
It was
a
like,
lot of
oh,
artists were.
I'm bigger than Spotify, or I'm big enough to not need to worry about being on Spotify. And obviously, I think just more for probably like the fans than the company. She's like allowing her music to be on there so that people can listen to it. But I mean, as they fair play to her for just being like, no, I'm awesome.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
And I simultaneously don't like it, but because it's so interesting, and especially like the more petty the reason is for the change, the more I kind of like it, just in terms of like as a discussion point. Like I said, like the stuff about like Game of Thrones, like editing the entire show to remove a coffee cup. Like stuff like that is really interesting because it just makes this massive monolithic corporation like HBO seem so petty that they're so annoyed. It's like editing a tweet because, or like deleting a tweet and then re-uploading it because you like put a space before a full stop or something like that. It's like no one would really give a shit about this. Like a couple of people might pick you up on it, but no, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. But the fact you changed it proves that it bothers you a lot.
I've done it a few times where if it's within a minute or two of posting the tweet and I notice the spelling mistake, I'm like, and repost that tweet. Yep. No one will
That's
notice.
the one.
No one will notice.
I think that's one of the reasons I find it so interesting. It's not that it's being changed; it's that it's such a petty change that it means that this massive company or huge big celebrities, like Taylor is probably a bad example of that, because obviously she's doing it for a pretty solid reason. But like with movies and like stuff like that, so just the idea of this huge big corporation don't like it. It bothers them enough where they took it down and then did it again.
Yeah, I think like Taylor Swift is probably the exact opposite of that. Of no, I'm in a position where I can fight for my rights as an artist to own what I create and stop that big corporation just taking royalties from me for the rest of my life.
But something like that Yakuza one, where it's like they took the guy's face out and changed it.
And that, that's one of those of like, imagine, for example, okay, like Mandalorian with Gina Carano, where they've like, they fired her from the 3rd season.
It'd be so funny if they did that though.
But can you imagine, like, not only are you not allowed to be in this show anymore, like, for what you've said, and you can argue, all day and night whether that's the right thing to do or not, it's been done. I would find it hilarious if they turn around like, we've got the Gina-less edit where we've facially replaced the actor and just been like,
well, they did that with
Kevin
Spacey, didn't they? Kevin Spacey, that happened to him. Like he was in a movie when all the
controversy,
the accusation,
about him. Yeah,
the accusation, like his admittance of them. Like he was in a movie that was finished, and the director hired another actor, and then just CGI'd that new actor in Kevin Spacey's place.
Never knew that.
Yeah, and then it happened as well with I think it was Christy Elliott, the comedian who was like, texting underage girls. He was going to be in Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Zack Snyder CGI'd him out of every scene he's in. And it's just like, it's so funny because fuck the person it's happening to.
Yeah,
it's like the fact that we're going to spend millions of dollars to CGI you out of art. because fuck you. That's amazing.
Can we get it? Can we like fight for the Gina replacement?
Can we just like fight for like to have all the people who've been like, you know, edited out of things into their own movie? Can we have like Gina Carrero and Christy Elliott and the evil and the ugly Sonic model all in a movie together with Kevin Spacey? With the soundtrack, and it's that soundtrack from the stolen soundtrack from
Dragon Ball.
Tenkaichi.
Yeah.
Just combine them all into the Forbidden Project. Just put them all in.
And I think you need to throw in like something from the Zack Snyder cut where it's like the Zack
All the
Snyder
Joss
cut.
Whedon stuff that he cut out, yeah, all the jokes and humor.
Yeah, where he's like, "Oh no, that bit with Wonder Woman get hit in the head. Just throw that in because that's not in there. I know that much."
We need to combine it all to create the forbidden media. Like the cursed media. It's like no one's allowed to view. Someone says here that the on the way to Amarillo, the Peter Kay video, they've edited Jimmy Savile out of it.
we need that as well.
Yeah, just Jimmy Savile wandering in.
Let's get some pre-CGI extra characters, like just from the Star Wars films.
Yeah, and then there's like, well, we need to go way back in time to all those times where like, actors just died, and they just replaced them with other actors and never told anyone. Like back in the day, Plan 9 from Outer Space, where Bela Lugosi died, and Ed Wood, the director, brought his dentist in and told him to stand like this with a cape because he's playing Dracula the entire time. So let's get him in.
Well, there was not so much just a replacement in a film, but like when they changed multiple times. Like I can think of like Dumbledore when Richard Harris passed away, and like Ian McKellen took over, and then what's his name from Iron Man? The War Machine. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, Terrence Howard.
Yeah,
bring Terrence Howard in. Terry Howard. Bring him in. Next time, baby. Next time. The forbidden movie. No one's allowed to see it. If you watch this movie, you've already been killed by like Disney snipers.
Yeah.
We can create the forbidden media. And it's like, you know, the soundtrack done by 2010 Taylor Swift. She does the soundtrack. Oh god, do this. Like this is a piece of media I want to see. The forbidden movie.
That would be incredible.
It'd be like that the day the clown died, like that movie you're not allowed to watch. Have you heard about that? We can end on this. It's a real story. It's a real thing. There's a movie called The Day the Clown Died, I think it is, which is a forbidden movie with Jerry Lewis in it that's not allowed to see the light of day for like another 100 years.
Oh.
Yeah, he filmed the movie, and it is about, I shit you not, a clown who has to entertain children on the way to gas chambers in Auschwitz. And it's like a movie that was so harrowing to make. They said, like, we need to wait till society is healed enough to find something like this funny, because it's a comedy about that.
I'm not sure that we're ever going to get to a point where that's funny.
Exactly. It's also the Woody Harrelson movie that he made. Oh no, John Malkovich movie. He's been in a movie that's not going to be released for like another 6,000 years. It's like in a time sealed vault. Like, we need those as well. Like they can be the DVD extras for the Forbidden movie. Yeah, like, thank you everyone for listening. That was way more fun than I expected it to be, considering the subject matter. But Lucas, anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I'd just like to plug, my usual, I guess, of just you can find me on Twitch and YouTube at LegendOfKanto. My social media is like just my Twitter and my Instagram, like KantoLegend_. You can find the video version of the podcast on my YouTube channel. And you can just find doing gaming stuff on my YouTube and Twitch other than that.
Also, like if you email, is it karlscornerqa
at gmail.com, yeah.
At gmail.com. We do Q&A episodes like once a month. So if you have any questions for us, like we don't do questions at the end of streams now, because like people tended to either ask the same questions or feel a bit like on the spot.
Yes.
So with people having the ability to like formulate like more interesting questions, and we having similarly having more time to answer them, that seems to have worked better so far. So
yeah, and it gives me a bit more time to like screen the questions and maybe put them down a little bit more or pick out certain questions like that.
Yeah. And then just for everyone watching my stuff or listening, wants to see more of mine, Karl Smallwood on YouTube. You'll find it. It's all there. Cheers everyone for tuning in. And there's no stream today, is there? After this one, we normally do a double stream on Wednesday.
We do, but we're delaying it till tomorrow so that Charlie can be free, so that we can all play Kazuya in Smash Bros.
Yeah, we're just gonna do some like 1v1 v1 v1 v1s. Just Kazuya Mishima is in Smash Bros, and I'm gonna fucking just electric wind god fist everyone's testicles into their throat.
Tell you what, Carl, I played like a few minutes of him in training. It feels good. It feels good, man.
It feels good to land just that electric wind god fist. Just the it's like the character just crumples into a ball, and then you just put just the foot into the the throat.
You know,
Perfect.
I've already been testing kill percent on that taunt, Carl.
That's the one. All good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thank you for everyone for watching.
tune in for that tomorrow.